Hi guys, welcome to the Attersee Talks. This is now my podcast series 2022. It's about, of course, Europe, about peace and about Ukraine, about the Balkans, about economic reform. But this one here at the Attersee, I would like to devote very much towards Ukraine, to peace in Ukraine, to the Ukraine Euroization, the adopting of the Euro, the NATO membership, the EU membership, the accession trio of Moldova, Georgia and also Ukraine to join the European Union, and also the clear right of a sovereign nation to join the defense alliance. NATO is it, yeah? It's a defensive, it's not a project to attack Russia or so. Nobody has actually attacked Russia, to my best knowledge, since NATO foundation. And nobody would dare, it's a nuclear power. It's just that Russia is a very aggressive power, especially since 2008. And they have attacked Georgia, Ukraine, taken Crimea, and now they threaten the second time in half a year. So after May, they are threatening now a full-scale escalation. And as the talk is going, the Europeans are divided, pro-Europeans and pro-Russians. And that's a big shame, actually, that we have this division in Europe. And also we are afraid to fight. And okay, we are here in this beautiful surrounding and nobody really wants to have war. But according to Martin Selmayr, the very famous former Secretary General of Juncker, of the Commission, and now the head of the Austrian EU delegation, or the European Commission representation in Vienna, to be correctly, he has said yesterday at the Diplomatic Academy that there is nobody ready to fight and we will not fight, and Putin knows that very well. You know, and also me, I don't want to send any Austrian soldiers anywhere. I'm anyhow not in a position to do that. And I don't want to have any fight. And no, I'm a very peaceful person, actually, very soft in my whole concept. And just the thing is that it's Russia that is looking for a war, Russia that is threatening war, and potentially now also going for war. And so we cannot say we are not ready to fight. You know, ultimately the Ukrainians will have to defend themselves. They will certainly not just roll over. And it's very unlikely that we will be not affected. War, in a full-scale war, I'm talking about a real scale, because Donbass was never mentioned. Putin was denying it. Yeah? It was not a full-scale war in that sense. Yeah? They said that it was insurgents and he was maybe supporting or not. Remember that one. And also in Ukraine, in Crimea, he said, oh, that was the Crimeans who wanted to have this. That was his argument. Yeah? Now when he goes full-scale in, we have no other choice than to declare war. Because that's basically the whole breakdown of the European peace order since 1949 or 45. And that's a blatant aggression. So there is no other way, and we have then to basically take sides. You cannot stay neutral when your neighboring country, which is associated with the European Union, is then attacked in such a clear and obvious manner. And then Martin Selmayr knows very well that we have no other choice. He says that we cannot do anything, we cannot fight. Yes, okay. Yeah, I don't see Austrian soldiers fighting. Yeah, I don't see the German soldiers fighting. No, that I have never argued. Yeah, and there is 40 million Ukrainians. Yeah, they have the manpower to fight in such a war. The war will be decided by fiscal means and by industrial means and by unity. So we have a basically unlimited fiscal and industrial power in the West. And obviously, in case of a Russian war against us and the status of war between the West and Russia, we will have to interdict every single trade transaction. There will be no question of Nord Stream 2. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's no longer a question if Nord Stream 2 will be getting an operational permit. There will be no Nord Stream 1 anymore. There will be no Yamal. There will be no these Druzhba pipelines. There will be no purchase of Russian goods, services, energy, and whatever in the European Union in such a case. There will be a confiscation, a mutual confiscation of state assets and potentially also private sector assets in the status of war. I mean, this is what nations do at war. It's no kindergarten kind of birthday party. War means confiscation of assets, interdiction of trade. Yeah? And then there is smuggling, embargo breaking, and all these things potentially because it is forbidden to trade with the enemy on the punishment of high treason and lifelong sentences and all these things. Obviously, confiscation of the companies who are doing that. Yeah, so there is no question anymore of Nord Stream 2. It's totally ridiculous, and you see how out of context some European, even a man who is actually one of my heroes, Martin Selmayr, is a very intelligent man. He made a wonderful speech here, and he is very well informed, and he knows very well that this is the case. Yeah, so we are not talking about small-scale thingies like targeting Putin's wealth. No, we are talking about the end of the European peace order, ended by Russia completely, and the status of war, and there will be no overflights, no flight rights of any civilian flights. There will be a complete cessation of air traffic and of rail traffic with Russia and the European Union, for example. It's not only the whole, what they say, the SWIFT, cancellation of SWIFT. It's a minor thing in that context, yeah? Because I'm talking about no further economic transaction between Russia and the European Union and the associated EFTA and all NATO members. And that will be the clear decision from Turkey to Norway. Everybody will have to comply, because this is very serious. It's not like, there was a little war and we couldn't do anything else, and there was a little bit of sanction because we permit Nord Stream 2 a bit later. This is not the reality. The reality is complete interdiction of trade, complete interdiction of traffic, complete interdiction of financial transaction, and confiscation of assets. And also, there is about $1 trillion of wealth from Russia in the Western jurisdiction, maybe even more, which they have looted in the last 20 or 30 years, or even before the KGB. So that will be all confiscated. Yeah? Absolutely. There is no alternative to that one. And that will be the consequences. And we should say that very loud. I cannot understand our Western leaders when they say, here, for example, this is the Attersee. I'm sure there is a lot of Russian private wealth here, yeah? Everywhere where it's beautiful in Europe. So we will all confiscate it, yeah? Confiscate everything, even of private citizens. Then we will go for the companies of the private citizens of Russia, and so on and so on. And that is the consequence of war. And maybe there will be then legal restitution, and there will be all these things, and they can also confiscate our investments. That's obviously the case, but be sure there is much more Russian flight capital in the Western jurisdiction than there is some energy companies, some mining companies in Russia, which anyhow operate under very complicated situations. And that is the clear consequences of the Russian aggression and now Russian war against Ukraine under this pre-announced context. That was also the reason why in 2014 Putin didn't want to have a full-scale war. But this is the way he is now acting, so the consequences will be like this. And also, as I've written, we will not, I don't even think there will be the necessity for American soldiers or for, the EU soldiers. No, I don't think so, because there is a lot of Ukrainians. They will be keeping the front. But what they need is, of course, industrial, military and fiscal support. And we have basically unlimited means. Yeah? Because I don't say I'm a taxpayer representative, I don't want to waste money, and I don't want to have wasteful spending, but ultimately we have unlimited fiscal resources. That's the nature. When you see how far the mobilization of the American economy and the fiscal resources deployed in the Second World War was going, then this is unprecedented, and it's still absolutely possible. And seemingly the Russians believe the GOP propaganda that Biden is very weak, but America was underestimated often already. And it's not weak, and the Europeans are also not poor. So together we have about 45 trillion, about half of the global GDP, and this is the core of the West, North America and the European Union and NATO Europe. So that's half of the world's prosperity is in this situation, and Russia has 1.5. Yeah? So I'm talking 30 times the differential today, and this will be obviously devoted towards Ukrainian defense in terms of military preparedness, and also there will be no currency crisis. That's why I say introduce the euro, so there will be no currency crisis. Would have been much better. I was saying already to integrate the Ukrainian defense industry in the European defense industry, to sell Ukroprom in the Airbus and merge the two companies and give the Ukrainian state a share in Airbus for all the Ukrainian defense industries going into Airbus. That would have been much better. But okay, we are all a bit late and weak, but I said it already in 2017 when I made this Ukroprom kind of SME forum in Ukraine. And yeah, okay. Anyhow, the sun is setting. This is the sunset talk, so I don't want to make too long videos because of my make too long videos. I hope that my op-ed will be published soon, and I will also call for Austrian NATO membership and Swedish and also Finnish, Irish, Maltese. By the way, best regards to Roberta for being President of European Parliament. She was EDS Secretary General, and I'm very happy that she is now EP President. Best regards, and hopefully she will lead also Malta to NATO. That she has to live with my post on that one. So anyhow, it's getting cold. I give you a little bit of a glimpse of this beauty here, the Schloss Kammer, and this amazing place here, and I really love it. And this is the Attersee in Upper Austria, in the middle heart of Europe. It was liberated by Patton. Thanks a lot, Mr. Patton, the general of the Third Army, which was defeating the Nazism in Europe, and he was liberating Western Austria and also this beautiful lake. I'm very happy about it, and we are eternally grateful. And please, America, stand with Ukraine at this decisive moment and make sure Ukraine can join, like Western Germany, also NATO. And let's never forget, Austrian neutrality was a fake, dirty deal. We had, maybe it was okay that time to have unity and to remove the Soviet troops out of Vienna and the northern part of Austria and eastern part. But it was, of course, a disaster because we were not really fully integrated in the West. And that's now time to fully integrate Austria into the West and in NATO. And that's what I'm calling for. But that's part of the broader picture, obviously, together with Sweden, Finland, and also to undermine the Serbian argument they can join the EU without prior joining NATO, which is very destructive for the future of the Balkans, because we need all Balkan countries in NATO under Pax Americana in NATO. That even I say as Pax Europiana, but obviously we are twins, we are partners, we are the twin pillars of the West, and we are united. And that's very important, that America and Europe are more and more united economically, politically, strategically, and our institutions stand strong. And when Russia attacks them, we will deploy the full amount of the industrial and fiscal capacities of our technologies and of our military technology sector to the defense of Ukraine. And we stand with you, Ukraine. Mr. Blinken just said it today in Kiev, and that will be the case for all Europeans as well. Who is with Russia, please move to Russia. It's no problem for me. But otherwise, in the case of war, you will be also supervised by the military intelligence as enemy agents in the European continent. Because it will be either this side or that side. Now it's getting cold, it's the middle of January still. Attersee Lake talks, sunset is there. So much for now. More to come from Pax Europiana. Best regards. Thanks a lot for listening. Please subscribe at this button. Bye.